So what does a baby rhino have to do with today's Philadelphia Eagles? Now, stay tuned to find out. As for our programming schedule this week, it's another loaded week here on Eagles Now. Coverage every day because, of course, that is the standard. We're going to be live tomorrow on Tuesday morning reacting to the Eagles joint practice against the Colts. It's the final training camp practice in the lead up to the 2023 season, and it's the final week of the preseason. Another watch party is coming your way against Indy. Hopefully we get a look at Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew, now the backup with the Colts, and Shane Steichen returns to the city of brotherly love. We're going to talk about Jalen Carter, a surprise starting linebacker potentially, but first, today's Philadelphia Eagles Now is presented by True Classic. They're back on board sponsoring the show. You can get 25% off when you use the promo code CHAT25. Let me just take a moment to tell you about True Classic. These amazing t-shirts, polos, shorts that I'm wearing from True Classic, it's my go-to destination for all of my closet essentials, especially during the summer when I'm trying to look good, feel good, and perform well on air. I love how their shirts fit and feel, offering us guys premium products without the premium price tag. You get to save money and look fly in the process. That's always a dub in my book. Believe me, once you try these shirts from True Classic, you will never go back to regular basics. Okay, so let's talk about their t-shirts for a second. I've worn them a lot here on the show, and I know you've probably heard me rant about them, but they're so good. And I love their polos as well. That's why I'm rocking it on the program here on this fine Monday. And Eagles, they've been rocking their all-white jerseys throughout the preseason. Those jerseys are really clean. I think they're underrated. So rock some True Classic here, and you'll be looking icy just like the birds are on the football gridiron. Seriously, you haven't lived until you've worn one of their perfect-fitting t-shirts or polos. They're ultra soft, cut to highlight your arms and chest while hiding your gut. A lot of fellas that can help you out there for sure. Hey, we've all had a few extra beers this summer, including me. You see it here on my watch parties. Plus, they come in packs because, well, we hate to do laundry, right? So if you're ready to make the easiest summer upgrade, shop now at trueclassic.com. Save 25% off using the code CHAT25. That's the code CHAT25. Shop True Classic and don't let your closet be a bummer this summer. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. So, this news with Jalen Carter might shock a lot of people. Going into 2023, you're thinking, okay, that defensive tackle, it's going to be Fletcher Cox. It's going to be Jordan Davis as the two starters there on the interior of this loaded Eagles defensive line. But is Jalen Carter going to start for this football team? Unseating either Jordan Davis or Fletcher Cox, there is momentum growing behind the number 9 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, starting at defensive tackle as a rookie. That's how good he's been throughout camp and in the preseason. That's how dominant he's been. Now, my boy Elliott Shore-Parks, 94 WIP, taking to Twitter to say this, that Jalen Carter, basically a starter right now. He might not be week 1, snap 1 as far as the starter goes, but he is very clearly going to get plenty of snaps compared to other defensive tackles. Now, Elliott Shore-Parks and all these observations from reporters and media members who have been on the sideline at Eagles training camp, it's not just coming from them, is the hype. When legit players on this Eagles roster, when we're talking future Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, top-level players across the National Football League are taking note of what Jalen Carter is doing, you know it's for real. Like Lane Johnson, who has not surrendered a sack since November of 2021. Yet, he thinks that Jalen Carter can have a breakout year as a rookie. When he was asked about which player on the Eagles team, not just defense, could really shine and break out this year, here's what he said. I think Jalen Carter is going to make a lot of noise here in 2023. I really do. I think he can play right now and play at a really high level right now, so I'm confident in him. He's the guy, if you're playing high, he'll get the best of you. He's talking about leverage there. He plays very low. He's very strong. He's very quick, has lateral quickness. He's made a lot of people look silly in camp so far. I've been very impressed with him from day one. I think he has tremendous talent, tremendous ability, and he plays hard on every down. And again, when that's coming from the best right tackle in the game, and one of the best overall offensive tackles in the sport, a guy in Lane Johnson who, when the Eagles have him on the field, they win a lot, and when he's off the field, they lose a lot, and he hasn't given up a sack against some of the top-tier edge rushers in the NFL since 2021, especially in a division when he's going up against guys like Micah Parsons. And then in the NFC Championship game, he has a clean sheet against Nick Bosa. That's when you have to take note of what Carter is doing. And this is what makes Jalen Carter so unique as a football player. He has that power, quickness, size blend. He has positional versatility along the defensive line where he can line up at nose tackle, defensive tackle, edge rusher, and then on the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle. Because of the athleticism that he has great bend for his build. He's already demanding double teams. So teams on tape in the preseason already know that they have to double team him. Otherwise, he's going to cause destruction against that opposing offense. And his pass rush moves are really polished. He can hit you with a swim move. He can hit you with the spin move. He can hit you with that power bull rush. He really has everything to his arsenal. And as for other pro comps who his Eagles teammates are comparing him to, some of the top defensive tackles in this sport, namely a guy like Geno Atkins. Here's what Lane Johnson had to say about that pro comp for Carter. He's kind of similar also to Javon Hargrave, his former teammate for Lane Johnson. His pass rush ability, I'm trying to think of somebody inside. He's bigger than a Geno Atkins, but pretty twitchy, man. He's 6'3", 320. He's like a bigger Geno, I would say. But yeah, man, he's impressive. He's impressed me. And then Jordan Mailata, Geno Atkins, yeah, that's not bad. I think he's a little bit faster just because JC, look at him. Turn around and look at the guy. He's right there. And that's what he told the Philly Voice. And can you imagine Jordan Mailata just reacting to Jalen Carter in an Australian accent? Geno Atkins, mate, that's not bad, mate. I think it's a little bit faster because look at JC, he's right there, mate. Yeah, kind of a poor Australian accent, but at least I tried. Imagine also being a tight end trying to block Jalen Carter. And this goes back to the positional versatility that I was talking about. He can't just line up inside. He can line up outside as well, and that's why Dallas Goedert has had to block him on a couple of occasions. Dallas Goedert, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not capping here. He's a great blocker as the tight end. I think he's the second best all-around tight end as far as pass catching combined with blocking goes in the NFL. He's had to block Jalen Carter. Here's what he had to say about the rookie out of Georgia. I had to block him twice today, and it wasn't easy. I don't even know if you would consider it blocking. He's a special player. He's a special talent. Man, I held on for like half a second, and I was out of there. I was like, I don't know how they do it, man. He's a problem. I'm excited he's on my team, though. And this was Carter's snap alignment at Georgia last year, and it goes to show you, and this is why you subscribe to the show, because you don't get this analysis anywhere else. Line up on the A gap 30 times, over tackle 83, B gap, that's traditional defensive tackle, and a 4-3 front, 255 snaps, but outside tackle 20. So you look at where he lined up. Traditional nose is A gap, and then outside tackle, over tackle, that's kind of that defensive end type of spot. 83 snaps and 20. I did fail elementary algebra at Temple University, but that does combine for 103 snaps as a defensive end. Expect Sean Desai, or at least I want Sean Desai to use him in a very creative fashion. More to get to here on the show because we're only kind of getting started. But if you want more Eagles talk, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are 500 subscribers away from 49,000. I'm going to challenge the Bird Gang. I'm going to challenge the Fly Eagles Fly family and all my real ones out there. Can we get the 49,000 subscribers before kickoff on Thursday? Because I'm telling you this right now, the real ones know we like to party hard here at Chat Sports and on Eagles Now while giving you some great Eagles analysis. When we get the 50,000 subscribers, Trizzy and I, we're going to go nuts. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those noties. So now we get to this question that we started off the show with. What does a baby rhino have to do with today's Philadelphia Eagles now? Darius Slay also heaping praise upon Jalen Carter, whose Twitter and his nickname is called the Breadman. I like that. Darius Slay, on his podcast On the Volume, that's Colin Cowherd's podcast network, said, I've been around some great defensive tackles. Ndamukong Suh in Detroit, Haloti Ngata in Detroit, Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave in Philadelphia. He said, Jalen Carter, this kid is for real. Y'all have heard about him breaking blocking sleds. This kid right here is dominant. And he compared how he moves and his quickness to a baby rhino. We know that Slay, because he doesn't like to go by Darius, has a very vivacious type of personality. It's very contagious. He's a funny dude. But when you look at a baby rhino, like look it up on YouTube, he's comparing babyface Jalen Carter to a baby rhino because he's stocked, he's huge. You know that at some point he's going to be even more physically dominant than he is. But if you were to cross a baby rhino right now in the jungle, it would run your ass over. And it's a young baby rhino, just like Jalen Carter is a young football player. That's what a baby rhino has to do with today's Eagles now. So if you're excited for JC, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Howie Roseman may have knocked it out of the park, like Bryce Harper at CBP with this draft class. Seriously, though, we're talking Carter, Nolan Smith, Sidney Brown, Tyler Steen, Keely Ringo, and Tanner McKee. Let's round out with this. What's going to happen at the Eagles linebacker spot? Well, Myles Jack retired on Sunday. He now goes down as a more legendary Philadelphia Eagle than Frank Gore, who signed with the Eagles originally in free agency many years back under Chip Kelly and then decided to go to the Indianapolis Colts. Well, Myles Jack signed just a couple of weeks ago, and he saw this Eagles linebacker depth chart and some of those players making plays, and he said, you know what? I was thinking about becoming a plumber or electrician when I couldn't find a team to play with. He also said if an alien invasion happens or a zombie apocalypse, he wants to be able to do something. Well, he's going to retire from the game of football. Ian Rappaport breaking this news on Sunday that Myles Jack informed the Eagles that he plans to retire after 7 NFL seasons, 617 tackles, signed with Philly during camp. He will now hang him up. Started his career at UCLA with the Jacksonville Jaguars and then went to the Steelers last year. Really struggled in coverage. And my take on this was my immediate read. I think Myles Jack saw the writing on the wall. He fell down the depth chart. He saw Christian Ellis, Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham making plays, and he thought, you know what? I'm not as good as those guys, and I'm probably not going to have a spot on this Eagles roster. So instead of getting cut, not making the 53, I'm just going to retire and call it a pretty solid career, which lasted a long time, and he made some good plays in this league. Now, I will say this. Zach Cunningham yesterday at Eagles practice was starting alongside Nakobe Dean. He was getting some first-team reps, and I was really impressed with what he did on tape against the Cleveland Browns last Thursday. We even talked about it during the watch party. He showed off some good instincts, was able to read a couple of plays, good sideline-to-sideline vision, awareness, speed, and range, and that's why he had 7 tackles, 4 of which were solo. He had 1 tackle for loss, and Sean Desai, Howie Roseman, this Eagles coaching staff, they clearly wanted to see what he could do. That's why he logged 37 snaps in that game, and he got a lot of run ahead of Myles Jack, who didn't get into the game until late in the fourth quarter. So you have Myles Jack retiring. You have Zach Cunningham or Christian Ellis starting alongside Nakobe Dean, and I think it might be Zach Cunningham, but Ellis was making some of those instinctual plays as well. Does that mean that Nicholas Morrow is on the hot seat? That could be a surprise cut candidate for Philadelphia when the roster gets cut down to 53. If you made it this far on the show, give me a real one, Real John, down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. And another reminder for our programming schedule this week, it's a loaded week on Eagles Now. Why would you go anywhere else to absorb your Eagles content here on YouTube? Coverage every day because that's what we do. You can't be scared out on these YouTube streets. Live Tuesday recapping the Eagles joint practice against the Indianapolis Colts. That'll be an earlier live tomorrow. Watch party on Thursday against the Colts. Let's get it. Go Birds.